It has been a persistent rumor, theory craft, whatever you want to call it, for quite some time now that in EU5 we'll be able to play landless tags. Ever since we were told about the Hansa not being a tag with land, but then we saw them on the trade screen. Ever since we saw the dev diary talking about the banking families in Italy, calling them countries, and then Johan also saying that the only things you'll be able to play are countries. Well, you just described these guys as countries. Therefore, does that mean we can play these banking families that own no land? Landless playing? If you'd asked me a year ago, or even asked me 6 months ago, I would have said that was delusional. Absolutely ludicrous. There is no way that we'll be able to play a tag in EU5 or in any EU game that doesn't have land. That's just preposterous. But apparently it's not all that preposterous anymore. CK3 is adding landless characters that you can roam around with without owning land, and while that certainly fits for a game where you're playing as a character and as a dynasty, it doesn't really feel to me like that would fit an EU-style game where you're literally playing as the myth of the state. You're playing as the ghost of a country, I guess. The spirit of a nation. But how can you have a nation without land? Well, let's find out. Because that's exactly what we've got. Welcome everyone to the 26th Tinto Talks, the happy Wednesday where we tell you interesting information about our super top secret game with the codename Project Caesar. Previously in Grand Strategy games, playable entities, or countries as we usually refer to them, always required you to own land, and their existence was based upon owning land. You annexed and eliminated a country by taking all of their land. Now, during the 4 years since we created the first iterations of this system, things have changed, and you will soon have landless playable characters in Crusader Kings 3. Anyway, in Project Caesar, we currently have 4 categories of playable countries. That is the settled, the army-based country, the extraterritorial country, and a society of pops. What? Okay. The country type defines the condition of existence of a country and has enormous gameplay implications. Some countries are defined by the locations they own and cannot exist without them, while others are defined by their armies, their buildings, or their pops. The tooltip may make it 100% clear. Oh yes, no, 100%. 100%. We've been talking about making a navy-based country type, and it would be fairly easy to do, but we haven't really found any country that fits the category. I imagine some kind of pirate nation, but even then you'd kind of probably want a port. But either way. Settled countries are countries that are based on owning locations. These function the same as you would expect a country to work in a grand strategy game. These countries own land, they build buildings, they have cores, raise armies, etc. An army-based country is very similar to the location-based countries with a few differences. While they can still do everything that a location-based country does, they also have one strong advantage and a strong disadvantage in comparison. The advantage is the fact that as long as they have an army, then the country will still continue to exist, which we use to simulate redacted, okay, among other things. Maybe hordes, maybe defeated countries, potentially? Defeated settled countries that still have an army. It could be rebels. It could be separatist rebels. So you know how in E4 you full annex a country, and they still have an army. Their army turns into separatist rebels. That potentially could be here, and we haven't heard anything about unrest and rebellion in EU5 yet, so that might be why it is redacted. The disadvantage, depending on your point of view, is that if the country does not have an army at all, it can shatter into multiple pieces. Wait, okay. If it has an army, it'll continue to exist. If the country does not have an army, it can shatter into multiple pieces. Multiple pieces of what? Does it shatter into multiple pieces of army-based countries that then also don't have armies, then shatters into multiple pieces that are army-based countries that don't have armies, so it can shatter into multiple pieces Probably not. Many of the step hordes at the start of the game are ABC, army-based countries, okay, which fits nicely into their other mechanics. Yes, I do like the acronym ABC for army-based countries. I mean, that's fair. That is fair. It is pretty good. Extraterritorial countries. These are countries based around the buildings they own. They can't own land directly, but can have subjects that own land. Their buildings often have pops directly linked to the building, and these pops are also tied to the country. One risk with them is that they need to keep positive relationships with the places they have buildings in, or they may not be able to survive. Okay, exceptionally diplomatic style gameplay. Very interesting. Various banks, holy orders, and Hanseatic League holdings in 1337. So, yeah. These are all the Hanseatic cities. And there's way more of them than just, you know, Lübeck and Hansa. And then I guess we have banking cities in yellow, and then maybe holy orders in blue. Then we also have a pink and a green type down here. Okay. Alright. Constantinople. Okay, Constantinople in yellow. Maybe that is because the Genoese are there. They have the Genoese quarter in Constantinople. Okay. There are many types of playable entities that we can simulate with these systems, and here are a few of them. Banking countries. There are a few of these countries in Europe at the start of the game, with the Perusian Bardi, the banks that I mentioned at the very start of the game, or very start of the video, I should say, that was told about a long, long time ago. Later on, you get the Fuggers and more. They have main offices in certain cities and have the possibility to build more branches around the world. Other countries can request loans from them, and they also have the diplomatic ability to take over any estate loan that a country has and force that country to pay interest to them instead. That's so cool. That's really, really cool. They also have far lower interest rates on their estate loans, so they can easily become rich from other countries' debts. That's really, really cool. That's really, really cool. I'm now imagining the multiplayer implications of this. Not in the style of maybe, you know, a competitive MP, but the kind of multiplayer that I run where we have just, you know, 50 or so people all in a game playing whatever. I can totally imagine there being a couple of players that I regularly play with that will be all over these banking countries. Just, it will be their jam. And we have an advance only available for banking countries, income from minting, total loan capacity, and unlocks takeover loan. Trade companies. During the Age of Reformation, you can set up trade companies in overseas places, which would be a good subject to get trade going to benefit their overlord. We'll go into more detail about these in a later Tinto talks. Okay. And then there's the Hanseatic League. It's represented by a building-based country, which has a few subjects that are normal land-owning countries. This is a playable country from the start, and one that is really fun if you want to focus purely on a trading game. All right, then. And then you've got the, you know, their merchant capacity, various places. Lovely. Maybe the trade monopoly's estate privilege is less than good for us. True. We also have holy orders as a building-based type of country. Well, I can't go into details about it at this point. At the start of the game, the daimyos of Japan are using the building-based country mechanic. Right, because a long time ago, of course, we had the map of, I think it was in the Situation Dev Diary, we had a map that showed a little bit of Japan, and it looked like all of Japan was united, which kind of maybe shocked, maybe disappointed some people. But if all the daimyos are using this, they are countries and they are building-based, maybe that is how that is being, well, that is how that's being simulated. And I wonder if a building-based holy order country can become a land-based country. Teutonic Order, Livonian Order became land-owning countries. Maybe it is possible to switch between the types. But a society of pops. This is one of the most challenging types of countries in the game, as most of the mechanics are not available to them. They own no land, but instead are entirely based upon the pops associated with them. As they own no land, they do not interact with RGOs, nor can they build most buildings. Almost all of them start without advances for taxation, codifying laws, or constructing cities. A lot of the world has different societies of pops, where larger groups of people live, but are on the fringe of more organised and advanced states. In the New World, there are a mixture of settled countries and societies of pops. These types of countries can migrate their pops from one province to another over time, and they can also force the allegiance of pops to change to them through warfare with another society. The borders between different societies and settled countries are extremely fluid, and they can be in the same location as either of them. They can raise levies directly from their pops, and their armies can live off the land anywhere, gathering some small amount of food from any type of land. Their armies can always force any pop of their culture and religion to swear allegiance to their society. Amongst the ways they can stop being colonized is forcing colonized into the peace table, forcing them to cancel their colonial charters. Settled country can, in a war, force a society of pops to abandon pops that they own, and if they no longer own any pops, the society will no longer be an existing country. A society of pops can attempt to settle if they achieve certain advances. So, okay, there is a way for at least these guys to flip between the different types of country. After which, they will take over all locations where they have pops and are the dominant culture and religion, and then become a settled country. Currently, though, the gameplay experience is not where we want it, and unless that is improved by beta, they're very likely to be AI only at release. Aha, okay then. So there's the Finland, this is Sweden, this is Finland, and these are one of the, Society of Pops countries. That's really cool. To clarify, Society of Peoples and army-based countries have ways to become settled countries through mechanics. Okay, perfect. But there's no other normal ways of changing country types except through special events. But what about holy orders? Can holy orders become landed like Livonian and Teutonic orders? That would be kind of cool. Stay tuned, as next week we'll go into detail about buildings you can build outside of your own country. Okay, this is going to be super interesting as well then. Alright. This is monumental. This is so much different to anything people have come to expect from an EU game. This is so far outside of the norm. Being able to play as a country that does not own land is, again, it's something that no one was expecting. I mean, we had the hints early on, and maybe people were expecting it from then, but before that, no one was expecting this. This is honestly the biggest departure from the EU franchise that we have yet seen. The biggest one, without a shadow of a doubt. It's not close. And I'm excited for it. I think this is really, really interesting. I know I could name several people who will be all over these banking countries, all over the trading companies. The army-based country as well. Oh, this is going to be big. I am excited for this. Let me know what you guys think as well, right? Which of these types of countries are you most interested in playing? For me personally, the Hansa look like an absolute game changer. I'm very excited to play as the Hansa and as banking countries. I think they're going to be super fun. Yeah, that is... It's revolutionary, honestly. Let me know what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, how about you help me out and hit the subscribe button? It helps me out quite a lot, and you get, these videos popping up in your sub feed, which will help you to stay up to date and informed about everything coming out of Project Caesar. I love this. I am excited, and I hope you guys are too. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you on Friday for a Tinto map of Eastern Africa. Bye bye.